The soul trip. This is a philosophical interpretation of the journey of the soul, looking from my own physical and spiritual transformation. Putting things into perspective, when we suddenly get into the valley of darkness, we notice how empty life had been. We notice the world was busy telling us who we are and calling us names. We suddenly notice that life has more to it than just the physical we can naturally see. We hit rock bottom, both physically and spiritually. The valley of darkness is mostly when the soul starts signaling that it's time to start the purpose we came to fulfill on earth. Most people will go through the valley of darkness, yet some do not. Time is passing and we hardly really realize it. The valley of darkness, some people call it the wilderness, some call it the dark night of the soul, others call it the awakening. I simply call it the process of being born again. If we are generally in tune with our soul, the journey is easier. Being in tune with our soul means we can differentiate, most especially, the voice of the ego and the voice of the soul, and bring them together in harmony as our body awakens to our soul. Every time we say rest in peace when somebody dies, we should always remember we are talking of the soul. A human is formed when a nameless soul comes into a body to carry out a purpose or purposes on earth and to learn. The name we finally allocate to man plays a role as well. Then, when we let ourselves get carried away by physical treasures and strains, either consciously or unconsciously, we become very dense and the soul starts to disconnect from the body and might choose to leave before the ego even realizes. Some already awaken to their purpose earlier on in life, so age is not a defining factor. On the other hand, if we get carried away by spiritual rituals and traditions, we confuse our purpose and get into bondage. We have the power to change things, yet we always need help, which comes, however, when we seek it. It's all about finding a balance to provide a suitable hollow for the soul. The soul came here for a purpose, and the body is a well-evolved robot made out of matter. The soul has to find expression in this body, else it will leave just as quickly as it came in. Transformation comes when we start to understand that life is more than we see with our naked eyes. When we sit still to understand our own emotions, when we meditate and pray, we do not need any extravagant rituals to get in tune with our souls. Problems generally start from the outside, but they find expression in our emotions. We must guard our hearts. We must endeavor to eat well, breathe well, drink enough water, exercise and rest well. When we insist there is not more to life than we see, let's just hope the boat never rocks. We have to stay prepared for our purpose. We really cannot live life with brute force, whether good or evil. If our body cannot accommodate the soul leaves. On the other hand, when the soul is finished with purpose, the soul leaves. The earth is a training ground for our souls in this physical body. It's time to wake up, and it equally takes time to wake up. Let's give our souls a chance to express its purpose. There is enough help available, for man is generally appointed to live once and to die. It's not necessary to get stuck in the wheel of hell or karma. The timeless repetition of events. It's a good practice to listen to music. We should not forsake the assembly of men. Community is powerful, for we empower each other, even just in silence. We should be courageous. We should have integrity. We should be positive. We do not need mystical or occulted rituals to stay in tune with our souls. We equally do not need any legalistic religion to instill fear in us. What we need is a loving society backed by love, knowledge, and understanding. When we understand the subject matter, we find freedom. The human may die, yet the soul lives on.